Hello everyone, welcome. I am Nicole and this is my video for the overview of the intro to early childhood education. In this video I'm going to give you a swift overview, maybe 5 to 10 minutes to tell you about the course. Let's get started so I can get everything in that I want to tell you. In Unit 1 we talk about a lot of different things. This is the intro into the field. This is the introduction into the field. So we learn a lot about what is early education, early childhood education. Unit 1 is the roles of a childhood professional. So there's many different roles. Like we think that a teacher is only a teacher, but a teacher actually has many different roles. A teacher is a researcher, a lifelong learner, and a child and family advocate. Through these things, the teacher not only facilitates development, but also we have to appreciate child's play. When I worked in a daycare, I always thought of the play like child's play. To me, I always thought it was just a reward, but actually the children learn from playing. Also, as a researcher, we don't always teach. Sometimes we have to sit back and observe. So as we observe, we take notes and we find out better ways to teach a child. Like a child might not learn at the same pace. So we need to find out how the child is learning so we can go from there. Also, a lifelong learner. There's always professional development going on. So we always have to learn new things. Education is constantly changing, and there might be new ways to teach a child. So we always have to constantly be ready to learn new things. As a child and family advocate, this is where intervention comes into play, early intervention. If a child is having problems with their speech, we might need to refer the child for speech therapy. There might be problems in the family that aren't, how do I put this? There might be things going on in the family that have nothing to do with education. It could be that the family needs a referral for something else. We're here to find outlets for the family to get the help that they need. In Unit 2, we talked about history and the people involved in early education. One of the people that kind of stuck with me was a Swiss educator named Johann Heinrich Pestalozzi. He really cared about child welfare. It was really important to him. He was one of the first educators who actually worked with the children directly. He had several key beliefs. He felt like all children were capable of learning. He felt that learning begins at birth and parents are the first teachers. He also thought that natural life experiences, daily life experiences every day were actually a source of learning. And he was one of the main educators that believed that arts and physical education were important parts of education. It's sad because now they're taking the arts and physical education out of the schools. And even back then, they realized that it really was important to the children. Unit 3, we talked about the law, the rules, the regulations, child safety. This unit was about the laws regulating putting child safety first. It talked about the requirements, and actually every state has different requirements. One of the things I learned was about family child care providers here in Ohio. They don't have to be licensed. If you have 7 and under children in your home, you don't need a license. So a lot of leeway is given to these people. Like, I don't think child safety is where it needs to be when it comes to this area. Unit 4, we talked about the environment of a center. The environment, when you walk in, we want the environment to be inviting. You want a child to want to come in and learn. We learned about not only what it looks like, but what it sounds like. If you don't hear laughter and play, something's wrong, especially in a classroom with 3 and 4-year-olds. We talked about the sounds, the smells. It should be inviting. It should be a warm environment. And there should be a lot of different centers focusing on different types of learning for that child. Unit 5, we talked about the National Association for Young Children, better known as NAEYC. This organization it's put in place so that there are ethics in the school. Like, it's all about treating the children ethically. There is a code of ethics. There's rules involved so that teachers always behave in a professional manner, which is very important. We should not make the children feel bad. We should not make the parents feel uncomfortable. We should hold ourselves to a different standard as teachers. It should always be professional first. And just about the code of ethics, this is where you can't research what's going on. It's not when there's an ethical situation, when there's an ethical dilemma, you can't research the answer. You have to, it's one of those situations where it's kind of on the lines, like, you have to do what's right for the family, you have to do what's right for the child, but right for yourself as well, so that you don't put yourself in a compromising position. So this was very important to learn. Like, I didn't really know these things. Like, there's a line of how close a teacher can be to a family. Unit 6 is about early intervention, which I kind of brought up earlier. This is put in place to help children that might possibly be at risk in different areas that might need assistance to keep them at the same level of learning as their classmates. Like I said, this is for children who might need speech therapy, physical therapy possibly. If we feel like the child is not learning or not at the level that they should be, we might have to refer them. If the children is living in a situation where they might be at risk, if some of the levels that they feel like you might be at risk is if you have a teen parent, if you have a single parent, if you're living below poverty level. These are things that might put you at risk, and you might need early intervention. In that unit, we also talked about Head Start, which was an awesome program. I actually stand by Head Start. My son went to Head Start. Parents who could not afford the education that someone in a higher tax bracket could afford, that's what early Head Start was set for. It was set for people who were in, again, lower income families who could not afford a better education, so that all children could be at equal learning levels. Unit 7 was about professional training. So this is where the professional development comes into play. There's different courses and classes that can be taken. We always can learn. There's always learning going on. There's no reason why a teacher should be behind in learning. There's always training going on to help us stay at our best. If we're not at our teaching best, if we're not learning and we don't know the most up-to-date way to handle something, there could be problems. Unit 8 is about critical issues in childcare, which I think is super important, because this comes into play with early intervention too. There might be signs that we're not paying attention to. We need to know the signs of abuse, like a child could be learning differently or just socializing differently, and there could be a problem at home. So this is where Unit 8 comes into play, because it teaches us the signs to know if a child is being abused. Not only do we see the signs, but we follow the proper protocol and how to handle it. If any time we see signs of abuse, it is our job as the teacher, as a educator, we are required to report it. Unit 9, which is the last unit that we actually had a seminar about. This is about beginning the journey. This is the wrap up of the course. Excuse me. This is where we talk about how we compile our portfolio, what we want in our portfolio that describes us. What are we as a teacher? What we want to come across as. At the beginning of the course, we're asked what type of teacher we would like to be and the type of environment we would like to teach in. At the end, we're asked these same questions, and now we have the tools to answer those questions. I think this was a really awesome course. I learned a lot. I'm really grateful for this course. I actually, like I said, worked in a daycare. So some of this was a refresher, but actually a lot of this was new to me. So I'm really grateful for these experiences. I personally am not going to be a teacher. That was never my goal. That was never my plan. But I know what it takes to be a teacher now. A teacher has to be patient, understanding, a good listener. The environment that you sets the standard. It sets the stage for the type of teacher or the type of environment that you want the child to grow in. If it's a warm, inviting environment, the child will want to come to your class. The child will want to learn. If you're a warm and inviting person, the child will want to learn from you. So I'm very grateful for this course. Actually, my professional goal is to work in nutrition. It doesn't seem like I'm there yet, but I still have a ways to go. I'm learning myself, not only to help myself, but help others um, in my situation. I feel that I could be no better testimony than any other study if I show for myself. So I figure if I stay in nutrition, hopefully not only will I help myself, but others can see the change in me and actually want to be moved by it. I want to help children. I know how it is to be an overweight child. I know how hard it is in school, and so that is my goal, to work with possibly families and children um, in the nutrition area. Um, that's pretty much my whole video. I want to thank Professor Kimbrough for taking the time and sharing the knowledge that she had to give us. I'm very grateful for this course. Um, it taught me a lot. Actually, I feel like no matter if you're an educator or not, we should never stop learning. Never. We should always want to hunger for knowledge. That's the end of my video. I hope I gave you enough information to make you want to take up early intervention. I'm sorry, early education. Thank you so much.